Richie here with Statifying Football. Alright, this is your college bowl previews for Monday, December 30th. There will be 4 games on that day, starting with the 12:30 game, the first responder bowl between the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers of 8-4 against the Western Michigan Broncos at 7-5. Western Kentucky, it's a pretty cool because they have a first-year coach there who was their offense coordinator a few years ago. He actually turned them around. They were like 1-11 or 2-10. They were really bad last year. He got them to 8 wins. They have their offense going, got them into a bowl game. They're now offensively, I think they will be better in the future. They're only averaging over 25 points a game, 98th in the country. Defense is good, 21st in scoring defense, 29th in total defense. Quarterback Ty Storey, who's an Arkansas transfer, passed for 2,209 yards, 12 touchdowns, 5 picks, plus 246 yards and 7 touchdowns. Running back Gage Walker, really good running back, 1,115 yards, 8 touchdowns. Wide receiver Lucky Jackson, 77 catches, 985 yards, and 3 touchdowns, so he's really close to 1,000. Then defensive lineman D'Angelo Malone has 11.5 sacks, which is 7th in the nation. So they had a really good year. Like I said, positive year, maybe get to 9 wins in this game. Flip side, Western Michigan, normally one of the better teams in the MAC. They kind of faltered a little bit this year in a way because they were actually expected to maybe win the MAC or at least get to the championship game. They finished 7-5. However, they do have one of the better offenses in the country, averaging over 34 points a game, which is 25th nationally. They're 22nd in total offense. Defense is kind of right in the middle, 57th in scoring, 82nd in total defense, and that's kind of where the matchup is. Western Michigan, top 25 offense, Western Kentucky, top 25 defense, basically facing off against each other. Western Michigan has 34 sacks, 82 tackles for loss, and their quarterback John Wasting, 2,904 passing yards, 19 touchdowns to 7 picks. But really, this is also about their running game. They actually have one of the best running backs in the country. He's run for 1,423 yards with 23 rushing touchdowns, which is number 1 in the nation over everybody, even over Jonathan Taylor and Travis Etienne. He has more rushing touchdowns this year than everybody. I think this will be a pretty fun game. I actually do think it'll be kind of back and forth. It should be pretty high scoring. Western Kentucky, I think, has gotten their offense going later. However, I'm going to say Western Kentucky wins in the end it'll be a really close game. Like, I can see it being 33-30, 40-37, something along those lines. And I think it will be Western Kentucky's defense that, gets that final stop late. Their offense does enough. But I think this will be really exciting to watch going back and forth here. All right, then later, the 4 o'clock game, the Music City Bowl between the Mississippi State Bulldogs and the Louisville Cardinals. Mississippi State's coming in 6-6, only averaging 27 points a game, which is 75th nationally, but they do have the number 18 rushing offense in the country. Defense is right in the middle, 68th in total defense. Quarterback, they have 2 quarterbacks. They're going to start Tommy Stevens. They have quarterback Garrett Schrader, who's a true freshman. Passed for 1,170 yards, 8 touchdowns, 5 picks, plus 587 rushing yards and 6 touchdowns. Tommy Stevens was a transfer in from Penn State. Passed for 934, 9 touchdowns, 5 picks, plus 310 and 3 touchdowns. He had gotten hurt part of the year, so that's why Schrader came in, but they both played pretty well, and I expect to see both of them play in this game, even though Stevens will start. Running back Kylan Hill, he's one of the best running backs in the SEC, and nobody talks about him. Nobody knows who he is. He's rushed for 1,347 yards this year and 10 rushing touchdowns. I think he's first in the SEC in rushing, or at least in the top 2 or 3. So they have a really strong running game there. Louisville resurrected this year, going 75. Scott Satterfield came over from Appalachian State. Brought him to a bowl game, averaging 32 points a game, which is 40th nationally. They're 36th in total offense. However, their defense is really bad. They're 111th in scoring defense, 107th in total defense. And in my mind, the matchup, they have the 115th ranked rushing defense versus the Mississippi State's 18th rushing offense, so that could be a key to the game there. You got quarterback Michael Cunningham for Louisville, 1,786 yards, 20 touchdown passes to only 5 picks, plus he's run for 401 yards and 6 touchdowns. Running back Javian Hawkins, an awesome year that a lot of people were talking about. He ran for 1,420 yards and 8 rushing touchdowns. Wide receiver Tutu Atwell, 61 receptions, 1,129 receiving yards, and 12 touchdowns. I think this will be pretty even. Overall through the year, I feel like Louisville has played better than Mississippi State has. However, I do think that rushing game, it doesn't seem like Louisville will be able to stop it. Mississippi State can get it going. They have, and the defenses, Mississippi State is pretty much right in the middle. 65th in total, or 68th in scoring defense, 57th in rush defense, 92 in pass defense. But Louisville's defense in the hundreds. I think that's the difference in the game. I'm actually going to go Mississippi State to win here, getting their ground game going and getting to that 7th win. All right, 4 o'clock. Then you got the Redbox Bowl between the Cal Golden Bears and the Illinois Fighting Illini. This is going to be a defensive game. I don't expect too many points to come out of here. Cal is coming in 75, only averaging 20.1 points a game, which is 115th nationally. Their defense is normally good. They're 32nd in the country in scoring defense. 63rd in total defense, but really it's about their scoring defense. They bend but don't break. They have 34 sacks in the year. Now, they've had a lot of troubles with their quarterbacks this year, mainly because early on in the year, Chase Carbers was doing pretty well. He got hurt, and Devin Monster came in and was okay, but I think Chase Carbers will be the difference for them. And what he did play in, he passed for 1,500 yards, 10 touchdowns, 3 picks, plus 242 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. Devin Monster, he was actually a transfer from UCLA. He passed for 705, 5 touchdowns, 5 picks. They have one of the number 1 tackler in the country, linebacker Evan Weaver, 172 tackles. Kwani Dang, 112 tackles, and Cameron Good had 8.5 sacks. Like I said, they're all about their defense. Garbers will give them just enough offense here. Now they're facing Illinois. Illinois had a good season for them. They went 6-6. They had an upset over Wisconsin. But they did lose to Eastern Michigan, who did make a bowl, but it's just kind of a weird year for them, but a good one nonetheless to get to a bowl game. They are averaging 27.3 points a game, which is 78th in the country. They're 53rd in scoring defense, 78th in total defense, 91 tackles for loss, which puts them in the top 20 nationally. Plus 11 turnover margin, 12 picks in the year. Quarterback Brandon Peters, who's a transfer from Michigan, he passed for 1,611 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 7 picks, so not bad there. Linebacker Dele Harding, 148 tackles. Defensive lineman Olawale Betiku had 8 sacks himself. So, like I said, this is going to be a defensive game. Not a whole lot of offense here. This could be like 20-17 maybe, something like that. I'm going to go with Cal here just mainly because of the quarterback situation. I both have played well here. Even Garbers is hurt, but I trust Garbers a little bit more. But I mean, Illinois has been able to score in defense. However, like I said, low scoring game, but I'm gonna go Cal. All right, then the nightcap, 8 o'clock that night, the Orange Bowl, the Florida Gators against the Virginia Cavaliers. Florida coming in with a 10-2 record. They're averaging 33 points a game, which is 37th nationally. They're 17th in pass offense, only 54th in total offense. Their defense is one of the best in the country, 8th in scoring defense, 12th in rushing, 18th in passing, and number 10 in total defense. They have 46 sacks on the year, which is 5th nationally, 97 tackles for loss, which is 12th nationally. 15 interceptions on the year as a team, tied for 5th nationally. When Felipe Franks got hurt, not glad he got hurt, I'm glad he's not playing because he sucked, and Kyle Trask has been great. 2,636 passing yards, 24 touchdowns and 6 picks. Linebacker Jonathan Grenard, a transfer from Louisville, 8.5 sacks. Cornerback C.J. Henderson, 11 pass breakups. And you got Virginia, 9-4. They won their side of the Coastal, which the ACC, the Coastal Division, has won they've had seven. They have 7 teams in that division. Each one has won it the last 7 years. So, whatever. But they did, even though they got killed in the ACC title game, they had a good year, averaging 32 points a game, 37th pass offense. Defense is kind of in the middle, 59th in scoring, 40th in total. They've had 45 sacks as a team, which is 6th nationally, 94 tackles for loss, which is 15th nationally. They do have a -3 turnover margin, and that's mostly because of their quarterback. Bryce Perkins, one of the best players in the country, in my opinion, one of the best quarterbacks, especially dual threat quarterbacks. He can turn it over, fumbling. Not some interceptions, but a lot of fumbles. He's passed for 3,215 yards, 18 touchdowns to 11 picks, rushed for 745 yards and 11 touchdowns. They have wide receiver Hassis Dubois, 65 catches, 979, 4 touchdowns, so he'll probably get to 1,000. I am a Gator fan. I'm trying to look at this logically. Bryce Perkins is going to be a problem, but I would not be surprised if Florida comes out and kills Virginia because that's all they have. They only have Bryce Perkins, not much else. Yeah, they have a decent receiver, okay running backs, whatever. But as a team, they're kind of average. He's the reason they got to 9 wins. Without him, and I think next year, because he'll be gone, I think next year they may get to 6-6, maybe 7-5, and that's about it. And I think he's the difference between those 2 or 3 wins there. I mean, you'd have to have Trask play horribly. Our defense, which is one of the best in the country, I mean, they can keep up with Bryce Perkins. I don't see this actually being close. So I'm going to go Florida Gators. Big win over Virginia here in the Orange Bowl. All right. Come back. Check out my bowl previews. Almost done. Leave comments, like, subscribe. Peace.